and action.
Hi, I'm John.
Hi, I'm John. Welcome to another episode of Are You RV Safe? I'm John.
And I'm Borgie. And in this episode, we're getting off the beaten track and going off-road.
Some of the best campsites in Australia are at the end of a four-wheel drive track or even on a beach. So what we're going to do is cover off on how to tow in these different types of terrain.
So folks, strap yourselves in for an action-packed episode of Are You RV Safe?
Australia has an amazing network of bitumen roads. The bitumen works exceptionally well with the rubber on our tyres, and that gives us superb control for both our vehicles and our RVs.
So once you leave the bitumen and hit a dirt road or any off-road track, what you'll find is there's less traction available. Now, what is traction? Well, a couple of ways to look at it is there's less friction available against your tyre. The track can be looser, a little bit of rubble that slips under the tyre provides less friction, and therefore less traction. So what can you do to improve your traction or control off-road? Well, there's three main things. The first one, lower your tyre pressures. This is going to increase the tyre's footprint and therefore increase the available traction. The second thing is to go easy on the throttle. Because there's less grip available, it's much easier to spin wheels off takeoff. And the third thing you can do is apply your brakes more gently as well. You don't want to lock the tyres up and start to skid, because that basically means you lose control of the vehicle. So there's three things you can do to maintain traction and keep safe on the tracks.
Okay. So something like...
So Martin, one of the things that is almost paramount when we're travelling in a variety of surfaces that Australia has to offer for us, from outback roads to sand to corrugated highways, all that sort of stuff, demands the fact that we need to manipulate our tyre pressures to suit that environment.
I drove on corrugations. I did a trip towing a small off-road caravan. We did the Darling River Run, drove on a lot of corrugations, and you've just got to pick that correct speed where you're not having to wear a kidney belt.
If we're on an outback road, Gibb River Road, Unadilla track, Birdsville track, it is very beneficial to drop our tyre pressures down to about 75% of what the manufacturer's recommended pressures are. So if you're running at 36 psi on the placard, then you might want to drop them down to maybe 26 psi or 28 psi, depending upon the load in the car as well. When we do drop our tyre pressures, we actually then need to lower our speed as well. If we're on sand, which is probably a medium that a lot of people aspire to drive on, you need to drop your tyre pressures suitably to do that. For sand, mostly in Australia, anywhere between 12 psi, maybe through to 18 to 20 psi, depending upon how hard the sand is.
So it sounds like the softer the terrain, the lower the tyre.
Lower the tyre pressure. So what that does, by lowering the tyre pressure for sand, it actually increases the length of the footprint at the bottom radius of the tyre here. The best way to think of it is probably like a snow ski. Snow ski is only really narrow, but really long, and it's the length of that snow ski that provides the flotation on the snow for us. Therefore, reducing tyre pressures gives us that nice long footprint on the sand to create flotation on the sand for us. The way we're going to do that today is we're going to utilise these Mean Mother tyre deflators, and they are a great little piece of kit in the fact that we can actually dial up a pressure
That you want it to deflate to.
that you want it to deflate
wow,
to.
that's so handy.
This is certainly going to make it easy for us.
So does that mean you can put it on there and leave it and it'll deflate to that pressure, then stop?
Yeah, and
Wow.
the joy of it is put it on one tyre, put one on one tyre, work your way around for each individual tyre, and then by the time we get back to this one, all the tyres are done.
Hey Borgie,
Yep.
is this going to turn off on its own or what?
Yeah, it does, Jesse. It's pretty well foolproof, that one.
Oh, nice.
Our learners and driving instructors are headed to some tracks nearby to start their off-road driving lessons. On the way, John's still going on about a word Borgie loves to use.
I can't use the word use.
Is it too bogan?
I find it's not bogan, it's just...
It's accepted slang.
No, it's not. Accepted by who?
I know people by social.
We're having a debate on the word use.
That's exactly what it is, female sheep. And that's the only time it should be used, is to describe one of those.
sync button. There we go.
Now that our grammar lesson is over, time to start driving.
So the confidence level's high when it comes to four-wheel driving. When it comes to towing off-road, I'm going to go minus 50. I am not looking forward to it because I've seen how it can go. I've been on the other end of a shovel digging out vans and cars for hours.
Towing off-road gives us a whole new series of mediums to drive on and drive through and drive over.
How's it feeling for you?
It rides really well. The car rides really well too. I sort of forget it's there.
Well, that's the sign of a good trailer as well, to be honest with you. If you don't know it's there.
You might be thinking, should these RVs be taken off the bitumen? Can I take my RV off-road? In Australia, there are no clear industry guidelines for what makes an RV officially an off-road model. There are things, however, that can make an RV more suitable to be taken off-road. The most important thing is reinforcing the build to maximise durability. A reinforced chassis specifically with durable suspension and cabinetry that isn't just stapled together, but is glued and screwed and secured to ensure longevity. Then you'll need an off-road hitch that allows for greater flexibility and movement, and we want to keep all wiring and plumbing as out of the way as possible to try and avoid damage. A good set of tyres as well as a decent approach and departure angle, and you're good to go. In this instance, the Windsor Wild is a semi-off-road model, while the Hitch Cannon camper trailer is full off-road. So let's see how they handle.
30 k's an hour is great along through here. See right up ahead here, we've got puddles on our right hand side.
Yes.
Right. So we want to avoid those. Nice and slow for the puddles now. Ease up. Don't want to bounce the van too much. It's good. This now becomes far more technical. So drop your speed.
John keeps telling me to slow down. Yes, that is very annoying.
Drop your speed. Drop it, drop it, drop it. That's it. About 25 would be good. If you go any quicker, we don't get time to analyse the track and adjust our position on the track to suit. Right?
It's just so boring going 30 k's an hour. It is.
I'm terribly sorry.
It's time to engage four-wheel drive. In newer model cars, this style does quite a lot. Whilst once upon a time you had to get out of the car to lock in your hubs to engage four-wheel drive, and then use a separate gear stick to engage low range. These days, it's done through the electrics. Now, engaging four-wheel drive means sending drive to both the front and rear axles, giving your tyres more drive. Changing from high range to low range is all to do with your gears. Dropping down to low range means you're now using a completely different set of gears. Low range gear ratios allow lower speeds with higher torque than standard on-road gearing, which gives you more control in off-road situations.
So towing in an off-road environment is far more technical as well, especially when manoeuvring through tight areas, steep ascents, steep descents.
Oh, John, you got to sit back a bit. Your big head's blocking the mirror.
I'm terribly sorry, Jesse. But I want you to be really slow. Not Jesse slow, John slow.
John slow.
Let's see how Jessie goes on her first big descent towing the caravan.
So see how there's a couple of conservation mounds ahead of us now. We're going to take it really easy up and over the top of those. Nice and gentle, nice and slow. So we have switched into low range for this descent with the caravan.
So we've got a bit of a descent here.
Yeah.
What's your tip here for me? Stay off the brakes, stay on the brakes, use the gear.
Yeah, look, use your gearing, low range like usual.
Yep.
Okay, what you can do though with your brake controller is you can activate the trailer's brakes independently to the vehicle's brakes. And what that's going to do is pull the trailer nice and straight just to make sure it's not going to sort of want to kick to the side on you.
Gotcha, that works really well. The gearing's quite good in this low range reduction.
Yeah.
It feels pretty stable. That's done well again. Like, the van's not pushing me around, it's not clunking.
They handled that descent well. Now it's time to drive up the next hill.
What's this doing for your confidence, Jess?
It's kind of boring.
You're bored.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you bored?
Because it's slow.
Towing the caravan off-road was actually easier than I thought. And I think in part because the vehicle itself just had no problems at all.
I like how the car feels like it's not struggling to pull a
It's not struggling at all.
full-size van up. It's
It's not
amazing,
struggling
actually.
at all.
I was nervous at first, but once we got out there, it felt really safe and it just went really well.
See, I already can tell I'm doing something wrong here. I'm driving this like a rock roller. I need more momentum with that trailer, I think.
A little bit more momentum's not going to hurt. It's pretty grippy, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's weird. The clay's working in our favour here because it's so hard packed. We've got some rock here, and you can feel it. It's there now. It's weight, but it's not.
All of that weight now is being like an anchor behind it. So
Definitely.
it's all on the car to actually pull it up the hill, you know.
But it rides well. Like it's not rough, bouncy or anything.
I'll put that down to your good driving.
Oh, thanks, mate. That's the nicest thing you've ever said.
It's a beautiful day in a beautiful part of the world, and John's having a moment of appreciation.
There's something magical and mystical and fairy tale about a nice dark pine forest.
Lots of places to hide a body, John.
Remind me not to upset you, Jesse.
I don't feel fatigued. I got my heated seats on.
Seated heaters.
Seated heaters, yeah. That'll take off.
So, how do we secure the vehicle now?
Neutral.
Neutral, that's correct.
We have a feel.
No,
No?
Handbrake first.
handbrake first.
That could have been. Okay, handbrake's on, I promise.
This is luxurious full driving.
Mate, I'm a bit surprised if I got pulled over on the way home. They think you don't own this gear, mate. Who'd you steal this stuff from?
Let's be honest, you've got that look about you.
Didn't mean to be so overbearing, Jesse. I'm just trying to keep us safe.
You should lighten up a bit.
Don't want no short people around here. Do. Martin can take instruction.
I towed the caravan through the forest, but there was one point where we came up a hill and round a corner and there was a tree overhanging.
Come round this corner to the right, watch that tree on the right hand side.
As the van leant over on the uneven track, right at that point it came very close to the tree.
Yeah, I said go nice and wide. We're okay. Oh, that was too close.
I only did that for Jess because she wanted some excitement.
Oh, that was...
I wasn't even watching.
Getting off-road gives you special access to Australia. We are so lucky to have so many state forests and national parks to explore, and more often than not, you'll have the place to yourself. It's definitely a good motivator for heading off the main roads. Shockingly, it's estimated that 10 million native animals die on our roads each year. 10 million! That's not even counting introduced species like goats, pigs, horses and camels, of which there are also many in Australia. The majority of these accidents take place at dusk and dawn.
Having fun, night driving.
Yeah.
It's good to test out the lights. And,
It's nice.
splash through some mud, yep. There's no one around, we've got the place to ourselves.
Stop hitting bumps, I need to pee.
So hit them faster.
Some people do like to go for an off-road night drive. Now, if you're just doing some slow, low ranging, the risk to wildlife is pretty small. But if you're driving our main highways or graded tracks where you build up speed, the risk to wildlife becomes high. If you have the choice to avoid night driving, that's always the recommendation. Animals are particularly active at dusk and dawn, and combining that with the sun low on the horizon isn't great. Roos are designed to blend into their surroundings, and even the most eagle-eyed driver is sure to miss one jumping out from the grass. 84% of major roadkill collisions on Australian roads are with kangaroos. If driving through the night is a necessity, then setting yourself up with a decent set of driving lights is the way to go. Both of our Volkswagen Amaroks have been kitted with various lights from Lightforce. The silver Amarok has a set of hybrid driving lights as well as a Viper light bar. The driving lights are covered in amber filters. These push high contrast light for better visibility in poor conditions. The driving lights on the red Amarok are the new Lightforce Beast LEDs, which can be switched between 3 settings: Spot, Flood and Beast mode. The beach we're about to drive on has particularly soft sand, so we've opted to only tow the camper trailer. The red Amarok will be flying solo, so the learners can practice sand driving with and without an RV behind them.
Beach one, the proper beach one. Can you read it?
I like sand driving.
It's actually my favourite medium to drive on.
Oh, good, me too. Teaches you about tyre pressures.
It does teach you about tyre pressures.
Look, I think in a touring application, the most difficult roads to drive on would be outback roads in general and sand, because it's so unpredictable, and especially when towing, if you've got to make delicate manoeuvres back and forth in sand, I think that can be really quite tricky.
It's interesting to put the vehicle into a set of existing tyre tracks because it makes it feel as though it's kind of riding on rails a little bit.
Definitely.
And the sand's been compressed to some point. If the sand is pristine, I would always select to drive on fresh sand rather than in track somewhere else.
Absolutely.
But here the makeup of the sand is such that it does compress under tyres and it gives you somewhere easier to run.
But it is a bit like you're on railway tracks when you're in someone else's ruts.
Yeah,
You're a bit of a passenger in the driver's seat.
yeah, just hanging on.
Australia is well known for our stunning beaches, and there are more than a few that can be driven on. Once you master sand driving, you can take your pick between Gari, Fraser Island, Moreton Island, Stockton Beach, Rooney Island in Tassie, the Limestone Coast in South Australia, Gunpoint in the NT, Cable Beach. The list goes on and on.
Towing on the sand was challenging because this stretch of beach I know very well, and it's insanely soft. And even though we had rain, once you start going up a slight incline, I could feel the wheels spinning, and I knew we were done for. We got stuck.
So let's knock another 2 psi out of each of these tyres, particularly the trailer. I think you could feel the trailer anchoring you there. The sand here is significantly softer, so we've gone down to 12 psi in the vehicle and 10 psi in the trailer. Evan's just selected low range, and we're going to try and give it a go to get ourselves out of here. So that's nice, a little bit of forward momentum, just rocking gently.
Wow, huge difference.
Makes a big difference. So
Because we were just digging before.
we were digging, we're now floating much better.
Good work, John.
Much better.
Nailed it. You were spot on there. You're like, that's tyre pressure. I can feel that that's not working. This feels much better now.
So now we
had
can
everyone worried, didn't we? Think we're going to lose this beautiful sunset because we
Yeah,
got
I know.
bogged straight away. We're not setting this up, guys. We got bogged.
we actually got bogged.
So it was smooth, controlled. Don't take sharp corners. Just everything you do is more deliberate and slow. Don't just send it.
Apparently, if you're running really low tyre pressures on sand, you've got to be wary of rolling a tyre off a rim.
Yeah, definitely. There's less pressure inside the tyre holding it on the bead. The more momentum you got when you're turning the wheel, the weight of the car pushes it off.
I just thought, wow, you can tow this onto a beach, you can sleep in comfort inside, it's got the kitchen on the back, it'd just be fantastic. I can't imagine sleeping all night listening to the waves roll in.
That's our sand driving lesson done for the day. Time to pack up and head back before it gets dark.
There are so many incredible off-road destinations in Australia, and having a capable RV is your ticket to getting out there.
We really hope you've got a lot from this episode, a few pointers and a few tips to help inspire you to get out there and see the best of Australia. Places like Cape York, the Kimberley, Gibb River Road's my favourite.
Flinders Ranges. I love the Ningaloo coast as well.
West coast of Tasmania.
Yeah, Kangaroo Island.
John, we've forgotten something.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Thank you very much for watching Are You RV Safe? But then there's also the Victorian High Country.
Oh, the Nullarbor, you got to cross the Nullarbor.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You're looking at the caves and that sort of thing. That's brilliant.
Now the team are more comfortable driving both on and off-road, it's time to learn what actions to take when things go wrong. Next week, we're talking breakdowns, winching, and sand recoveries. Tune in to see John annoy Jesse even more and Evan get really bored while he's waiting to be winched. RV Safe is a safety initiative of the CMCA, Australia's largest RV club. Join the CMCA to meet like-minded travellers, For discounts on insurance, access to RV Parks, The Wanderer magazine, and their popular GeoWiki X Travel app.
One.
It's fun to be in the CMCA.